Russell, how important is the Reading Cup tie?
Yeah, good. It's our next opportunity to at least attempt to get a win, and we need a win at the minute. I think that would do everybody's confidence the world of good after having had 2 very difficult away trips.
I mean, you sort of used gave players a chance against Colchester, but that's probably not something that you can consider this time, or?
No, there may be 1 or 2 changes, but they won't be the kind of like 5 or 6 that we had at Colchester. And besides, we've not, the size of the squad is a little bit smaller than what it was 3 or 4 weeks ago.
Alex Ravel, is he over what happened on Tuesday?
Yeah, we think so. He's going to train today. We'll see how he goes on. It may only be a light session for him, but we're hoping he's going to be back in contention.
And do you have any other injury worries?
Pilkington's still kind of like looking at February, mid-February. He's on a similar track and similar course to Joe Mason. They're both kind of like mid-February, similar stages.
But the importance of the cup, I mean, obviously the league has to be the priority, but where does that feature for you?
Me, I think a cup run can be fantastic for your football club, because I really do think you can gain quite a bit of momentum from it. And sometimes when you do make the odd change, it gives somebody an opportunity to maybe step up to the plate. Particularly in the earlier rounds, we made 5 or 6 changes, and I think it was good for the likes of Harris, for example, to go into that game and put in a performance.
And maybe with the run you're on, the fans need some lifting, don't they?
Yeah, they do. We all need some lifting, don't we? It's a feel-good factor that we want from everybody, and we're back at our stadium. I think that will make a difference as well. And we've been relatively strong at home, and it'd be nice to go on and get into that 6-round draw.
What's the latest on Lee Peltier? What can you say about him?
Well, he's just at a sensitive stage at the minute. There's a lot of work still to be done, a lot of water to still go under the bridge before we get there, but we're hopeful.
Do you know if he wants to come, or is it just...
Yes, he does. No, he does. Yeah, we've established that for sure. I don't want to bring anybody here that doesn't want to come, for sure. And Lee is he's keen, and he's if we're able to land his Lee Peltier, I mean, he's a wealth of experience in the Championship. He's been captain at 2 out of the 3 clubs that he's been at. And
speculation over John Brayford. What's the situation with him?
Yeah, again, still a sensitive situation. Sheffield have been very, very keen for a few weeks, and bids have been turned down, but it got to a stage where the club have decided that it's reached the right level, if you like, before any talks can take place. But I can tell you that John has now been given the go-ahead to talk to Sheffield.
Did he want to go?
I don't think he'd accept the talks if he didn't want to. I wouldn't. Put it this way: I can't speak for John, but I wouldn't want to talk to somebody if I didn't want to go there.
Because what I mean,
it's human nature.
He's very popular there. I mean, that goes without saying.
Yes.
After his loan spell there last year, but he would be dropping down a division and all that sort of stuff.
Of course.
So, has he's obviously been. I know that you've made him aware of approaches from Sheffield United in the past.
Yes, I've been honest with him. I've told him when there's been approaches, because so many times now, things get out, whether it's via agents, whether it's via the press or whatever. So I always try to be honest with the players when those situations arise and tell them our stance on that situation as well.
And so the motivation has come from the club or him?
Oh, it's come from the player. The players, we put it to the player. It's reached an acceptable level financially. So then, really, the ball is then to a certain extent in the player's court.
what I mean is that the motivation behind going, is that to reduce wages? Is that to, because the bid was too, he's been one of your more consistent players,
No. Very consistent for the football club. I mean, I keep touching on the fact that we are going through a stage of transition. Our wage bill is not sustainable, and the way forward is obviously the only way forward is to reduce that wage bill to a certain sustainable level.
And does that show less commitment from the owner, maybe, or is that because you're in the Championship, not the Premier League?
No. I think because we've come down a level, and obviously when clubs come down that level, wage bills are astronomical, and they need to get back to a sensible level again. You just have to look at the likes of Wolves that actually went down 2 levels before they started rebuilding under Kenny Jackett to get back up to the an attempt to get back up to the Championship and now to the Premier League. So I don't think it's uncommon. You can't sustain it. You come out, you have a good go to stay up in the Premier League, and you commit yourself to that status. And if you don't survive that, okay, in the short term you get the parachute payments, but any long term, and I say long term, after maybe the first season or even in that first season, you can't sustain it if you've invested so much money in trying to stay in the Premier League.
And yet, obviously, before you got here, they paid £5 million for a defender from France. It just seems difficult to tally the two. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I understand that. But I'm not in charge of the finances, obviously. But I do understand that there is a cash flow, and it has to be handled at the top. And the only way I can help do that is obviously reduce the playing staff, which we have done to a certain extent already. But I think it will get to a stage where we need to get that balance so we can still be very, very competitive in this league whilst we still rebuild.
What about Adam Lafondra? Are you prepared to listen to offers for him?
In the short term, it might be an opportunity. I see it as probably an opportunity for Adam to go and get some football, maybe get his little bit of confidence back. Certainly, any arrangement or deal won't be permanent. But if he gets the opportunity to go and play some games and maybe refresh himself, sometimes I think forwards need to do that. So if that opportunity comes about, we will look at it.
Have you had any offers for or
inquiries? Yes.
Has he been linked with Bolton? Is that
there's a couple of inquiries. There's more than one inquiry.
Right. And just going back to Brayford, does him going depend on Peltier arriving? Are the two connected at all?
Peltz is a player that I admire anyway, and can play in not just a right back position. So don't just think it's right back for right back. He can play right back. That's probably one of his strongest positions. But he's played left back and sitting centre midfield. So he brings quite a bit to the table, to be honest.
How many more would you need to lose by the end? Or how many more would you like to lose by the end of the winter? Because you're still with the likes of Maynard, who's not too close to playing these days.
No. Nicky's going to be out for another 5 weeks, I would say, with his back.
Oh right.
Yeah, he's got a back injury, a reoccurring back injury really, which has kept him out. So now we're having to rein him right back in to give it rest. There's not much more you can do, but to protect that back a little bit now.
What about possible incomings?
Yeah. Look, every minute, every hour, I'm working to see what we can do to bring 1 or 2 players in.
I mean, unfair question, but I'll ask it anyway.
You might get an unfair answer.
Well, yeah, exactly. But I'm sure the fans would be worried that the squad will be less strong by the end of the window than it was at the start of the window.
Yeah. Listen, I can understand that. I can understand that because one, the squad will be reduced in terms of its numbers, but I think it's a question of building a foundation right now. And what I mean by that is bringing in the right types, players that are going to roll the sleeves up, that are going to wear the shirt with pride, that are going to bring a very good work ethic to the football club. I think the example of Ravel has shown that in the opening 2 games that he's played. And then also we have to marry that up with a certain amount of quality that we bring in as well going forward. But as I say, it's a process. I could probably do with the window being open for at least another month. But it is what it is, and we'll do what we can in this window, which is what we are doing, and then we'll move forward with the group that we've got, and then we'll have to have a look as a club in the summer again, which would be a big period as well.
And even with the comings and goings, are you still determined to make a bid for playoffs this season?
Yeah, I'd like to think we could still get a top 6 slot. It's not easy when, 1, you're reducing the budget, 2, you're going through a transition, so there's a turnover of players. It's not easy to do it that way. I understand that. It's a massive, massive task to do that, but obviously that's my focus, and that will be the players' focus going forward. But Rome wasn't built in a day, so also we have to bear in mind that it may not happen overnight as much as I want it to, obviously.
So is Brayford not involved tomorrow? Is he up there for talks today? Listen, I'm not sure whether he'll be involved or not at this stage, is the honest answer. And the hoping Peltier will, or Zika?
No, but Peltier won't be available for the weekend either. It's at that sensitive stage, so.
Yeah.
So